Alright, what's up you guys? It's Royce Jacob. Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are going to be talking about whether or not the bottom is in for Bitcoin and Ethereum. Based on the title of this video, I'm sure you can assume that I personally don't think so. So I'll do my best to explain my reasoning there from both a fundamental and technical perspective. That said, we are going to be focusing more on the charts today. In front of us is TradingView, where we will be taking a look at both Bitcoin and Ether, talking some technicals, talking some downside price targets. Just on the Bitcoin chart, you can see in front of us on the daily candles, I'm sure you can spot a few both short-term and longer-term bearish indicators that we will be covering. But before we get into it, you guys, please give the video a like. It really means a lot. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. If for some reason you're not subscribed, help your boy get to 50K. And let me know in the comments down below if you think this analysis is absolute trash or if you agree with it. But either way, just let me know why. Also, before we read over this, you guys, if you want daily updates from me on Bitcoin, if you want to know how I'm personally trading Bitcoin and the crypto markets, all crypto stocks, if you want the exclusive Sunday stock watch that I just posted right before I post this one, you can check out my complete portfolio, daily newsletter. It's all those things I just named on top of a complete breakdown of my entire personal portfolio. You want to know how I'm trading on a daily basis during market hours, and also receive one of these newsletters, cover a lot in these newsletters. This is part 2 of a 2-part newsletter that I release every trading day, where we will read about Bitcoin before getting into the charts and kind of base these fundamentals. You guys, really means a lot if you check this out. Do my best to make this worth your hard-earned money. First link down below means a lot. 15 bucks a month, 40 bucks for every 3 months, completely up to you. But yeah, housekeeping out of the way, let's read through this guy and then dive into the charts. All right, so Bitcoin, the king, is also, keep in mind, you guys, this is Friday, or this was on Friday. I'm currently recording this on Sunday, January 30th. The king is also heading into the weekend on his high horse, but the overall trend still skews bearish. That's what you have to remember, you guys. And that's why we're going to be talking about bounces versus actual reversals. If you look at this, although the past few days have been promising, just look at this. Just look at that chart. Okay, we are still in a very, very objectively bearish trend. That's not an opinion. That is an objective truth. Okay, in a macro bearish trend. Okay, I also still don't like how closely correlated Bitcoin currently is to the S&P and the NASDAQ. So S&P 500, the NASDAQ 100, pretty much the kings of the equity markets. What Bitcoin and Ether are to the cryptocurrency space, that's pretty much the S&P 500, the NASDAQ to the equity markets or the stock market, okay? And the fact that they're closely correlated is worrisome to me because, as many of you know as well, I do still lean bearish on the S&P and the NASDAQ, okay? So I think the BTC could potentially see a short-term bounce. Yep, that's what we've seen. To test its descending channel, those white lines, we'll jump into those in the charts and talk about those right after this. If we do see 40K, we can just talk about those after that. But this is what I want to read for you guys. I know that Arizona just made it legal tender. I know Biden just made an announcement surrounding regulation. I know there are a few bull arguments to be made floating around out there. I follow all the typical crypto YouTubers as well. You follow Pomp, you guys. Follow Pomp, follow any of the kind of just perma bulls. And it's okay to be a perma bull, but it's not okay. It's not rational, it's not reasonable, and it's financially irresponsible. I mean, if you're a trader, if you're trying to trade this, if you're a long-term holder, don't worry about the day-to-day price action. It's almost not even, there's no point in even watching the technical analysis if you're one of those people. But you guys, if you just think that it's going to keep going up, and obviously that a lot of those dreams have been shattered over the past couple of months, it's not healthy to just keep thinking, oh, we're going to see a reversal, we're going to new all-time highs. 2022 is still going to see new all-time highs, because at this point in this macro environment where rates are being raised, where the Fed's finally stepping in, don't fight the Fed. Works both ways. Worked on the way up, equally as applicable on the way down. You guys, that's just the reality of the market right now, and that's the reality of cycles, and that's okay. But just to think that it's just going to keep going up is, once again, irrational. Okay, fear and uncertainty is still present. Fed is stepping in to fight inflation, and the technicals still suck. It's irrational to be bullish on the medium term at this point in time. But still, I'm ready to pounce once if I guess we see $25,000, and hint, that is going to be my my overall downside price target. Okay, that's personally $20,000 to $25,000 is worst case scenario. Maybe we see 18, 19 for like a candle, but I think anything that falls under $20,000, even if we get thrown like a black swan event, anything below 20K at this point in time, because Bitcoin has such relevance in the current financial macro, just overall financial markets, it's solidified its place as like one of the greatest inflation hedges, just from a long-term time horizon, long-term perspective. I think any worst case, if we do see even like a daily wick below $20,000, it'll immediately be eaten back up. Okay, so let's talk about these price targets. Let's talk long-term and then move to short-term, okay? The head and shoulders pattern, this massive head and shoulders pattern that has been, I mean, you could say the base of the left shoulder. So left shoulder right here, come up, makes the head, the all-time high we saw back in, the all-time high we saw back in November, just under $69,000. And then we are currently in the process of playing out this right shoulder, okay? So the base of this left shoulder, July 20th, a while back, it's half a year ago now, was at $29,000 here, okay? Come up, head and shoulders pattern. The left shoulder, the base of the left shoulder is where the right shoulder obviously will end up basing out. That's where the head and shoulders pattern completes itself or resolves itself, all right? So the base is at $29,000. Therefore, you'd think that if we do play out this head and shoulders pattern, which is looking pretty textbook at this point, I wouldn't say textbook, but pretty damn close to textbook, would resolve itself in a current correction for Bitcoin down to $29,000, okay? As you can see up here, this is kind of what's important to me. This is the time range. This is the date range that it took from Bitcoin to reach the base of the left shoulder to the little tip of the forehead. And then you just mirror that, which is 110 days, 110 bars. Bars equals days because we're on daily candles. If you mirror that, you just flip that right onto the right shoulder. You can see that 110 days from that peak of the head would take us to February 27th. So February 27th, where would we end up if we if this plays into, so obviously February 27th, if it plays out perfectly, if the date range perfectly mirrors itself on this head and shoulders, that would obviously take us down to $29,000 on February 27th, 28th, whatever, okay? But let's zoom in here now and take a look at the current downtrend, okay? So Bitcoin is in a very, very obvious downtrend. Broke above it, created this higher tier descending channel that we're currently bouncing around in. As you can see here, pretty clean descending channel from these highs. And we are approaching very quick, a pretty, obviously a very solid line of resistance. So this yellow line right here, and obviously this white line is the line of resistance on this descending channel. This one is the line of support. And we're coming up to two solid lines of resistance here. So obviously one being the line of resistance on this descending channel, but the other being for the $40,000 mark. So $40,000, obviously psychological even, and a bounce to 40K wouldn't surprise me at all, because it would also just be a retest of the previous lower low. Okay, so when you're in a downtrend, there's obviously a series of lower highs and lower lows. Okay, so high, low, lower high, lower low. Probably just going to set in a lower high at the ceiling, the previous floor of that lower low, which is the new ceiling for this lower high. And at the same time, we would pretty much also come to perfectly test the line of resistance on this descending channel. Okay, so have a lot of resistance, have a strong ceiling coming up here. Again, in this macro environment, neither the technicals nor fundamentals feed into anything bullish. I will say right now, if Bitcoin can break past 52K, okay, if Bitcoin can break beyond kind of the peak of both the left and right shoulders here around 52K, that's where I would flip bullish and actually be like, shoot, maybe we will see new all-time highs in 2022. But again, you guys, just being someone who's played these hyper growth bull market cycles for almost a decade now, it's pretty damn unlikely. Okay, so anyway, downside price targets, obviously 29K to resolve the head and shoulders. I think that, like, honestly, I think by the end of February, which is just under a month from now, I think best case scenario for Bitcoin, just again, I skew bearish. I could be wrong. Hey, if you think I'm stupid, let me know in the comments down below. But if I think best case scenario for Bitcoin, if I'm being honest with you guys, just again, given the macro overall, I think is $30,000, 2930K. That is the line of resistance. If we just kind of slowly coast down, it's a slow sell-off. Maybe we don't just dump. Maybe we do dump. Hey, but I think best case is kind of just a slow sell-off. Let the market cool down a little bit. Let the correction really complete itself, get down to like $30,000, and if we do see that on February 27th, kind of that resolution of the head and shoulders, that would also come down pretty damn close to about $30,000, 29K at the resolution of the overall head and shoulders, to test the top side of resistance on the descending channel. Then maybe we go sideways and then slowly but surely start to make our way back to the upside. But realistically, we'll probably trade in a range for a very, very long time. Okay, you guys. 2020, 2021, helicopter money from the Fed, just liquidity injections left and right. That environment perfectly lended itself to what cryptocurrencies are, and what bull markets are, not only in crypto, of course, not only in crypto, like hyper growth sectors of the equity markets saw that upside too, like this time last year. And the reality is, you guys, that's just the current macro environment will have because money was being injected into the economy, because there was just so much free capital and so much reckless capital, if I'm being honest, amongst new retail investors. Those things all, like, there's the perfect storm for cryptocurrencies, hypergrowth equities to see the price action that they did. But times have changed. That's the reality. And again, you guys, that's okay. It's part of the cycle. That's just like life. There's ups and downs within the markets as well, and there's always ways to make money. And in the Sunday Stock Watch that I actually just recorded, we're talking about and the top 3 stock picks of February. I'm going to be focusing pretty much completely on hedges. Okay, even if we do see short-term upside, the macro is completely lending itself not only in equities but Bitcoin, crypto as well, to more downside. And hey, that's exciting as well, because there are ways to make money in even bear markets. And hey, even if you just want to sit on the sidelines for a while, it's so crucial, in my opinion, at this point. And again, always know my money's where my mouth is, to have capital to deploy, to have some dry powder to strike with once your downside price targets are hit. So obviously, initial downside price target for Bitcoin is 29K. And I think worst case scenario, if we test the bottom side of this descending channel, this would be in about a week and a half, 2 weeks from now, if we really see another sell-off, which I mean, just looking at this chart, you guys, I wouldn't be surprised if we see like 7 to 10 days of straight selling off, especially if the equity markets. Next week is huge for the equity markets as well. We got Google's earnings. We have so like Facebook earnings next week, Meta. So there's a lot of earnings next week. And again, you guys, I just think that although earnings so far have been good in big tech, it's just, I think all of the growth at this point is priced in, and the growth moving forward, like the economy is objectively slowing down. I don't think anyone will dispute that, okay? Just because there's less money floating around, okay? And everyone's lost so much damn money in the markets. But worst case scenario for Bitcoin is going to be $24,000 on February 10th, $24,000 reversion to the mean, retest of this previous high over here. And again, worst case is obviously going to be a retest of the initial high back in December of 2020. 20K was also the all-time high back in 2017, maybe just below that. So can we trade in a range from $20,000 to $25,000 for a minute? Absolutely, I think that's very possible, okay? But will I be a buyer of Bitcoin at 25K? Absolutely, and I think a lot of other people will as well, okay? So that's Bitcoin. Keep you guys posted on that. Again, you guys want daily updates? Update you guys on Bitcoin in the newsletter every day. And yeah, just a shout out there. Okay, so Ether is printing kind of a similar pattern. Let's move that up there. So Ether is printing again, kind of this head and shoulders, a little jankier head and shoulders. You can see here, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Of course, every play in the crypto market is going to mirror this to some extent. But what's more important here, you guys? So let's just obviously the left shoulder based out down here around $1,800. A complete resolution of this head and shoulders would take us down to $1,800, which in all honesty, I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest to see Ether see that. Worst case for Ether is obviously going to be 2017's high, which is around $1,400. But Ether, of course, has also solidified its place in as not only like a market hedge, but as it's a very exciting like the base layer of Web3. So Ether, I can't see Ether falling below 1,500. But honestly, I would say if I was to just literally as a betting man, I would say that once Bitcoin bases out, once the whole crypto market's based out, I do think it will trade in a range for quite a while between I'm gonna say $1,500 and $1,800. Okay, so Ether, obviously same story, different chart, in a very, very evident downtrend. Best case scenario for Ether is to come up and again, hey, maybe this week we do see a short-term rally. Same goes for the equity markets. But I still, like, no matter, if the equity markets see a rally, I will lose money because I'm very heavily hedged. But I still believe in the downside. Like, we're still so objectively in a medium to longer term bear trend. And for Ether, as long as we are below this line of resistance, and also, again, same thing here, Ether just a little more volatile than Bitcoin, just uses previous lower low as the new base for this lower, as the new kind of ceiling for this lower high, which would also on February 9th, again, you guys, that was like the same, that was the same kind of bear date for Bitcoin that we just looked at. But hey, maybe Bitcoin sees some upside too and goes sideways. But Ether, if this line of resistance on the downtrend perfectly intersects with this, again, previous lower low, new ceiling for the lower high, that would take us to $3,000 on February 9th. But again, given the macro, I think that will be about as high as we can go. Now, if we can break through that, if we can break above $3,400, above this previous lower high, then that would excite me. But for now, I think it's very unlikely that we break much past beyond $3,000. And personally, I think another move down to 1,800 is in the cards. You guys know I love Ether. I love Bitcoin. I bought Ether for the first time in March or April of 2017. My average purchase price was like $35. So, I mean, like, I love these assets. I believed in these assets for a long time, but I've also played these cycles and I've played these markets, and I know what market environments feel like. I know what entering a bull market feels like. I know what entering a bear market feels like. And right now, it just feels like we're entering a bear market, unfortunately. But again, have some dry powder. Have some dry powder. Half Japanese, I can talk like that. But have some dry powder at the ready. Be a shark, ready to strike in those bloody waters. And yeah. Always keep those heads high, okay? So, I'll talk to you guys next time. Again, let me know in the comments down below if you think this analysis was whack. If so, don't really care. But, hey, let me know why down below. And, yeah, if you agree, let me know why as well. Or if you think I missed anything in the bear argument, please share your thoughts down below as well. So, I'll catch you guys downstairs in the comments. Until next time, always remember, take action, make waves. Peace.